The words hit Rowan so unexpectedly that the entire crowded university cafe seemed to fall silent around him. Just as he reached for the chair across from the young woman he had been planning to meet for lunch, another woman stepped directly into his path, looked him in the eyes with a mixture of fear, determination, and heartbreak, and quietly declared that he was not allowed to date anyone else before calmly sliding into the empty seat beside him as if she had finally run out of time to keep pretending she felt nothing. Every face nearby turned toward them, but neither of them noticed. In that single unforgettable moment, years of silence, regret, friendship, and hidden love crashed together. If you believe kindness, forgiveness, hope, and second chances can change lives, please take a moment to like this video, leave a thoughtful comment, share it with someone who needs encouragement today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. Rowan had never imagined that his ordinary Thursday afternoon would become the day that completely rewrote his future. He was 29, worked as a landscape architect, and had built a reputation for being dependable, patient, and impossible to anger. Friends often joked that he carried everyone else's burdens while quietly ignoring his own. He laughed with them because it was easier than admitting they were right. For almost 6 years, one person had remained at the center of his life without ever truly belonging to it. Her name was Tessa. They had met during graduate school when both volunteered to restore an abandoned neighborhood park. She had an infectious laugh that could brighten exhausted volunteers after hours of work beneath the afternoon sun. She believed every neglected place deserved another chance, and somehow she believed the same about people. Rowan admired that about her from the very beginning. Everyone around them assumed they were dating. They spent weekends exploring hiking trails, attended local festivals, celebrated birthdays together, and helped each other through career disappointments. Yet every time Rowan thought about confessing his feelings, something stopped him. Sometimes Tessa casually mentioned that she wasn't looking for a relationship. Other times she teased him about future girlfriends as though the idea of them ever becoming more than friends had never crossed her mind. Eventually Rowan convinced himself that friendship was enough. Life, however, has a cruel way of rewarding silence with regret. A year earlier, Tessa accepted a demanding position managing community development projects in another city less than 2 hours away. The distance wasn't impossible, but their schedules became overwhelming. Phone calls became weekly, then monthly. Messages became shorter. They still cared about each other, yet neither admitted how much they missed the easy rhythm they once shared. Meanwhile, Rowan's older sister worried that he was living too cautiously. She encouraged him to meet someone new, insisting that waiting forever for something uncertain was unfair to himself. After months of gentle persuasion, Rowan finally agreed to let a coworker arrange a casual lunch with her friend, a teacher named Claire. He wasn't excited. He wasn't heartbroken. He simply believed life was moving forward whether he felt ready or not. Unknown to Rowan, news of the lunch reached Tessa through a mutual friend only that morning. She had laughed politely when she first heard it, but the drive back toward the city felt endless. Every mile forced her to confront a truth she had buried beneath work, pride, and fear. She wasn't losing an opportunity. She was losing Rowan. She realized that every happy memory she treasured somehow included him. Every professional success felt incomplete until she told him. Every difficult day improved after hearing his voice. She had spent years protecting their friendship because she feared rejection, only to discover that silence carried an even greater risk. By the time she arrived at the cafe, her hands trembled. She watched Rowan waiting with flowers he intended as a simple gesture of kindness towards someone he had never met before. That was the moment fear finally surrendered to honesty. The cafe remained awkwardly quiet after Tessa sat beside him. Claire, who had just arrived and witnessed the unexpected confession from a respectful distance, quickly understood what was happening. Instead of becoming offended, she smiled warmly, walked over, wished both of them happiness, and quietly left before anyone could apologize. Her kindness embarrassed Rowan even more. He looked toward Tessa, searching for words that refused to come. She finally admitted everything she had hidden for years. She confessed that she had convinced herself she was protecting their friendship by pretending not to love him. She admitted watching him prepare to build a future with someone else hurt more than she thought possible. She apologized for waiting until the worst possible moment to tell him. Rowan didn't answer immediately. Not because he lacked feelings. Because he had imagined this conversation so many times that reality felt impossible. Finally, he smiled with tears gathering in his eyes and admitted he had loved her almost from the day they planted their first tree together. The relief that washed across Tessa's face made every uncomfortable second worthwhile. Yet love, even honest love, does not erase years of misunderstanding overnight. Over the following weeks they chose not to rush into romance. Instead, they rebuilt trust through honesty. They talked for hours during long daytime walks through parks they had once restored together. They discussed every misunderstanding they had allowed to grow in silence. Rowan admitted that repeated uncertainty had slowly convinced him he wasn't enough. Tessa admitted that watching her parents' painful divorce had made vulnerability feel dangerous. Neither blamed the other. Both accepted responsibility for hiding behind fear. Their relationship began not with dramatic promises but with difficult conversations neither had been brave enough to have before. Still, life presented another challenge. Rowan received an unexpected promotion that required relocating across the country within 3 months. The opportunity represented everything he had worked toward professionally. Turning it down could permanently affect his career. Tessa had only recently become director of several neighborhood revitalization projects she deeply loved. Leaving immediately would mean abandoning years of work and dozens of families depending on her leadership. For the first time since finally admitting their feelings, they faced the possibility that timing might separate them after all. Friends expected another heartbreaking ending. Instead, something different happened. Rather than demanding sacrifice, they chose partnership. Rowan accepted the promotion with the understanding that he would spend several months establishing the new office before requesting flexible scheduling. Tessa committed herself to completing the projects she had promised her community. They visited each other regularly during weekends, celebrated milestones together whenever possible, and refused to measure love by physical distance alone. It wasn't always easy. There were delayed flights, canceled plans, missed birthdays, unexpected work emergencies. There were afternoons when loneliness returned despite their best efforts. But unlike before, neither remained silent. Whenever fear appeared, they spoke about it. Whenever doubt grew, they confronted it together instead of pretending everything was fine. Slowly they discovered that communication could accomplish what years of guessing never had. One sunny spring afternoon nearly a year later, Rowan returned to the city where everything had begun. The restored park where they first met had become one of the most beautiful public spaces in the region. Children laughed across the playground they once helped design. Elderly couples rested beneath mature trees that had grown strong because 2 young volunteers refused to give up on forgotten ground. Tessa was overseeing the dedication of a new community garden when she spotted Rowan walking toward her carrying a familiar wooden box. Inside rested the worn gardening gloves they had each used during their very first volunteer project. They were faded, stitched together in places, and almost worthless to anyone else. To them they represented every beginning. Rowan reminded her that years earlier she had taught him that neglected places deserved another chance. She had no idea she had taught him something even greater, that hearts frightened by disappointment also deserved another chance. He asked whether she would continue building every future garden, every future home, every future ordinary afternoon beside him. Tessa laughed through joyful tears before embracing him so tightly that nearby volunteers burst into applause without needing to know the whole story. Months later their wedding reflected exactly who they had become. Instead of extravagant decorations, guests were invited to plant flowers throughout the park. Every family received seeds to take home as a reminder that the strongest things in life often begin quietly beneath the surface before anyone notices their growth. During the celebration, Rowan thanked everyone who had supported them but admitted that their greatest lesson came from the years they almost wasted. Love had never been absent. Courage had been. Tessa smiled because she knew he was right. Sometimes people aren't separated by distance. Sometimes they are separated by words left unsaid. Before we reach the end of this story, we'd love to hear from you. Have you ever waited too long to tell someone how much they meant to you, or has someone found the courage to be honest with you just in time? Leave a meaningful comment sharing the lesson this story reminded you of. As the afternoon sun bathed the park in warm golden light, Rowan and Tessa stood together watching families enjoy the place that had quietly connected their lives years before. They understood that real love was never about perfect timing or dramatic moments. It was about choosing honesty over fear, forgiveness over pride, patience over anger, and hope over regret. The sentence that once shocked an entire cafe had become a reminder that the heart sometimes speaks only when it realizes what it cannot bear to lose, but the happiest endings belong to those who find the courage to listen before it is truly too late. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. May this story remind you that kindness heals, forgiveness restores, and second chances often arrive when we finally have the courage to tell the truth.